Chosen one, stop everything you are doing at this exact moment. If your heart accelerated even slightly when these words reached you, if something inside you paused, hesitated, or leaned in with curiosity you cannot explain, then do not ignore that signal. Do not scroll past this moment as if it were ordinary, because it is not. You are not here by accident, and this is not just another message passing through your screen. Something deeper is happening, something intentional, something that was set in motion long before you became aware of it. Over the last 24 hours, there has been an unusual pressure placed on your mind. You may not have consciously noticed it, but it was there: subtle distractions, small irritations, random thoughts pulling your focus in every direction. The enemy has been working strategically, not loudly, not obviously, but quietly, persistently, trying to cloud your awareness, to keep you mentally occupied, emotionally drained, and spiritually unfocused. The goal was simple: to make sure you were not aligned, not receptive, not present when this moment arrived. And yet, here you are. That alone tells you something powerful. It tells you that despite every attempt to pull you away, despite every distraction that tried to occupy your mind, something greater intervened. You were guided here. You were positioned here. There is a reason your attention is fixed right now, a reason you are still reading instead of moving on. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. There has been a strange shift inside you lately, hasn't there? A feeling that is difficult to describe, almost impossible to explain to others. It's not physical pain, not something that can be diagnosed or measured. It's deeper than that. It feels like a quiet unrest, a persistent inner tension that does not fully go away no matter how much you try to distract yourself. You wake up with it. You carry it throughout the day. You try to ignore it, but it keeps returning, stronger, more insistent. Things that once felt normal now feel empty. Conversations that used to entertain you now feel shallow. Places that once felt comfortable now feel restrictive, as if the space itself has become too small for who you are becoming. You may find yourself sitting in silence, staring into nothing, feeling a weight in your chest that has no clear cause. Sometimes it feels like you are about to cry, but there are no specific tears attached to it. Other times, it feels like urgency, as if something important is happening, something you are supposed to respond to, but you cannot quite identify what it is. The world will try to explain this in simple terms. People around you might call it stress, anxiety, burnout. They might suggest you are overthinking, that you need rest, that you need distraction. And in quiet moments, when doubt creeps in, there may even be a voice whispering that something is wrong with you, that you are losing control, that you are becoming disconnected. But listen carefully. That interpretation is incomplete. It misses the deeper reality of what is happening within you. This is not a breakdown. This is a disruption of the old structure of your life. Something within you is being awakened, and the life you were previously living can no longer contain it. The discomfort you feel is not random, it is the friction between who you have been and who you are being called to become. It is the tension of transformation. Think about what happens when someone is deeply asleep and needs to be awakened urgently. At first, the touch is gentle. A soft call, a light nudge. But if there is no response, the urgency increases. The shaking becomes stronger. The voice becomes louder. Not out of harm, but out of necessity. That is what is happening to your spirit. You are being shaken awake. And that awakening requires disruption. It requires the breaking of patterns, the dissolving of comfort, the removal of distractions that once kept you occupied but now stand in the way of your next level. That is why certain relationships have shifted. People who once felt close now feel distant. Conversations feel forced or draining. There is a noticeable change in energy, as if something invisible has altered the dynamic. You may have tried to understand it, to fix it, to restore things to how they were, but nothing seems to work the same way anymore. This is not random rejection. This is separation by alignment. For a long time, you carried more than you were meant to. You became the one others relied on emotionally, the one who listened, who supported, who solved problems that were not yours to carry. You did it because you cared. You did it because your heart is genuine. But somewhere along the way, that empathy became a burden. You were giving out energy without replenishing it. You were pouring into others while neglecting the deeper call within yourself. And now, that imbalance is being corrected. The exhaustion you feel is not just physical. It is the weight of responsibilities that were never assigned to you in the first place. It is the result of carrying emotional loads that do not belong to your path. And now, those loads are being removed. But removal feels like loss at first. When something familiar is taken away, even if it was unhealthy, it creates a void. And that void can feel like loneliness, like isolation, like abandonment. But what you are experiencing is not abandonment. It is clearing. Your environment is being reset. The noise is being reduced so that you can finally hear what has been trying to reach you all along. And yes, it feels uncomfortable. Silence can be unsettling when you are used to constant noise. Stillness can feel heavy when you are used to constant activity. But within that silence, within that stillness, there is clarity waiting to emerge. You are not being left behind. You are being repositioned. And this repositioning requires that you release the version of yourself that was tied to external validation. The need to be understood, to be accepted, to be approved of by others, these are the chains that are now being broken. Because where you are going, those chains cannot come with you. There will be moments during this transition where doubt tries to return. Where you question your decisions, where you wonder if you are making a mistake, where the comfort of the past seems tempting again simply because it was familiar. That is part of the process. But familiarity is not the same as alignment. What felt safe before may no longer serve you now. And this is where your awareness becomes critical. Because the next phase is not about going back. It is about moving forward with intention, even when the path is not fully visible yet. You are learning to stand in your own space without needing constant reassurance. You are learning to exist without shrinking yourself to fit into environments that no longer match your energy. You are learning to hold your ground without explaining your transformation to those who are not ready to understand it. And that takes strength. Real strength. Not the loud kind, not the kind that seeks attention, but the quiet, steady strength that remains firm even when everything around it feels uncertain. That strength is already within you. It is being activated. And once it fully emerges, you will no longer recognize the version of yourself that used to doubt, hesitate, and seek permission to evolve. Because that version is fading. And what is taking its place is something far more grounded, far more aware, and far more aligned with the purpose that has been waiting for you to step into it. This is not the end of something. This is the beginning of something far greater than what you have known before. And whether you fully understand it yet or not, you are already in motion.